Hey y'all, it's
Foreshadow.
today I'm breaking down my project file for the dreamflasher edit. Let's get started. On the screen are a bunch of plugins that I use regularly, like every time I edit. Firstly, I start every single edit with a black solid in the background, just so whatever you're doing in the background with color correction, it just kind of works with it. Because if I turn this off, it's already messing up a lot of other stuff. I guess it's kind of a personal preference thing, but I kind of just do it because it's a lot cleaner. This is actually like the raw edit, so like there's no color correction here, but you know, I usually add it. Usually when I start an edit, I get like I get a random clip and basically just mess around with the color correction for like probably like 10 to 15 minutes, getting something that looks pretty alright. If you know Jane, then you know that like her entire like aesthetic is like very messy, very low
fidelity.
If you check out her remixes video here, she has like, she rendered it at 360p. It's their entire aesthetic, and basically I wanted to mimic that. This composition is 20 fps, which I usually don't do, and in the entire like edit, like I have like these adjustment layers that have JPEG damage on them, which just completely like, it's not something I usually do, but it works really well with Jane's entire style. Here's one of the plugins that I really like. It's called I forgot what it's called, but it's like Magic Bullet's looks or something. 100% legal copy of Magic Bullet looks right here. And if you see in here, like it's pretty basic stuff. You got the fusion. You need the fusion is just glow. It's fucking rain outside. I hope that's not picking up my mic. I'd be pissed. I got pop here, just to make everything pop. This is like very basic stuff. We got two strip process, which basically just splits like the entire video into like two separate colors. It's really cool if you just want like two specific colors that work really well with each other, and just have like an entire color scheme of a video. Like if I were to turn this off and also the HSL colors, it would just be random colors. This is a good shot to demonstrate the LUT that I put on it. It's basically like just some, it's just some extra touches on the CC. Like if I look at all this other stuff, I could just have like completely black and white orange color, or I could do this. This looks really ugly. But yeah, this is fun to mess around with. I usually don't use LUT, but it actually works really well here. And I also have chromatic aberration on the entire thing. I think that I really like to do sometimes is that sometimes I just like duplicate the color correction. It adds that extra oomph on your edit that I really like to use. I've used it a couple other times on some other edits. It works really well with Jane's aesthetic and everything. I obviously delete some stuff on the duplicate layer. Like obviously I try not to have too many curves, or else it just makes it like, makes it a little bit weird. I don't really think that looks good. Maybe some people will. That's completely up to you if you think that looks good or not. That's what's so cool about editing though, because like whether you want these black solids in the background, it's completely up to you. I think it looks way better here with the black layers. It just I usually do it 9 out of 10 times, it just makes it look slightly better. That's basically everything for the color correction. The video starts off with like a bunch of little recordings I did in FL. I got the dreamflasher audio file. Yeah, I literally just opened up Wave Candy. I got the default visualizers. I didn't really do much to them. I think I like got rid of like the background, like maybe change the color or something. That's about it. Yeah, I basically got these little videos of the audio visualizers, and I just put them straight into After Effects. Yeah, basically all this thing has is just deep glow, and over like the entire like intro here, there's just this adjustment layer with JPEG damage. Glint, posterize, there's a bit, I guess. Doesn't really do much. And I got a second layer of glint as well. I want the first part to just look as weird as possible. Like barely even recognizable. But you can still kind of see that it's just visualizers. This entire edit has so many one-framers. I use so many one-framers in my edits, and it's no exception here as well. Like for example, this little one-framer that I put right here to transition into this part literally has just a bunch of shit that I like to do. I got BCC pin art. I barely ever use that, and I just got invert on it. Yeah, it's basically a bunch of one-framers. For this little intro here, it's just simply text, but it also has a bunch of other stuff. It has rays, which I keyframed manually myself. I made it like manually flicker This edit is 20 frames, so you can kind of you can manually keyframe stuff with 20 FPS while it's still being like not tedious at all. And on this entire section here, it's just more JPEG damage, glint. It's got the same adjustment layer here. I for some reason just have an empty adjustment layer here for no reason. And yeah, that's basically the entire intro, just a bunch of glint with like some little video snippets that I recorded myself. And for the main section, you might have noticed that this is Angels and Cameras music video. I was also going to do the Dancing with Your Eyes Closed music video, but I got way too lazy and I honestly liked most of the clips in Angels and Camera anyway. So I just did that. In this entire section, I don't know why, it's usually better to pre-comp your video clips, but I didn't really do that here. I didn't really see a need to. Sometimes you just don't have to, you know. For this entire section, like up until the drop, it's got auto paint on it just to make it look a little bit weirder in some sections. It just makes it a little bit harder to tell. Adds like that little extra sharpness to everything. Auto paint on its own looks like, you know, it just looks like paint. But with this, with auto paint, flicker, and like JPEG damage, it just makes it like look really rough. Like really rough, especially with JPEG damage on top of it. This entire edit just has JPEG damage all over it and some auto paint. And then of course the main thing here that makes this entire edit so flashy is the S flicker. I put the amplitude up so high to where it just keeps going black and keeps turning to black constantly. It's definitely the entire aesthetic I was going for as well. I'm gonna put this at a lower quality, it's just so random. Like if I were to turn this S flicker off, look at that. There's literally nothing happening. You can actually see everything that happens. Oh yeah, also on top of the S flicker, I also added a red amplitude on it. If I were to get rid of that, put that back to 1, most of the red is just gonna be like, it's just gonna be flickering. Yeah, no, the flicker carries the entire edit. Like with the crazy amount of amplitude that I put on it, but also like the red amp, like it makes everything. Obviously this isn't red, but with on top of the color correction, it works really well with it. The way I did this cool little one framer, so I just used turbulent noise. I set the turbulent noise to block. It usually looks like this, but I set it to block. I also set it to strings. I don't know if it's by default or not. I put the contrast up like a bunch to like over 1,000, and then you just put glint on it, and it just looks really nice. Obviously without the color correction, it just looks really ugly. Yeah, that's definitely the most important thing of like any edit, is that color correction is literally the most important thing. Most of the edits that you see online look super ugly without the color correction. At least for the style that I'm going for. It'd be really interesting just to show you the entire edit without JPEG damage or flicker at all. It just looks really boring. Like, there's nothing really happening. I forgot to mention, but a lot of sections in this edit have a posterized time, which is just it's a little effect where you can just change the frame rate. It's kind of cool to use sometimes. I use it in some sections like here. I put it down to 10 FPS. I used it in here as well. I actually set it to 5. For this little section, I just have etching, which is another Sapphire plugin. A lot of these are just Sapphire plugins or like BCC plugins, or separate plugins like Deep Glow.
Or a pixel soda.
There's a lot of sections where I put in the little text here from the beginning. I put warp repeat on it, which is an effect that I actually really like to use. If I had to put it above everything else real quick, I could show you what it actually does. It's another Sapphire plugin, and it essentially just does this. It just repeats it. It just basically layers this entire thing, and you can change how many there are. This is a really good plugin to use, especially for text. In this little section, I put down the FL thing that I used from the intro as well. I just put posterize on it. Posterize just like is also a really good plugin to use. In a lot of sections here, like this clip for example, I manually placed some adjustment layers with rays on it, like this section, just to make it pop out a little bit more. Looks a lot cooler play it all together. This section is just a bunch of basic clips. Again, a lot of these like aren't pre-comped at all, which is, it's not a bad thing, but it's not preferred. But since these clips are so basic and it's mainly just layered on top of this flicker and like JPEG damage, and the extremely strong oversaturated color correction, it kind of works. In this little section, I lowered the frame rate again to like 10 or something, and I did a little bit of drawing here. This is just like a simple little scribble thing that I drew. I have a Wacom tablet here that I just love to use for on edit sometimes. I like to draw over certain things. I'll show you how to draw stuff later on. There's so many one framers in this edit. Like this little part to the intro, I use a bunch of Sapphire plugins. All of it's 90% of it is Sapphire plugins. In this section at the drop, it's not as noticeable, but I put the vector scope in the background here, and it works really well. Like it's not as noticeable as the other ones, but it works really well here. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I put overlay on it. If I add to this, I mean, you know what I mean. Overlay is a fun mode to mess around with. Another one I also really like to use is difference and classic difference, and also subtract. Those are really good. I think I used subtract somewhere here, if I'm not mistaken. I did. Yeah, and this little background text, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I used it in this background text. There's text in the background, and I put subtract on it because that's what it normally looks like. But now it's like it blends in a lot more when you use subtract. It's good for background text. On this entire text, I put turbulent displace, which is really good. It basically makes it move around. I'll show quickly how to do that. Yeah, I'll show real quick. I'll show you all the sauce. This is like the easiest thing to do on a text, just to make anything look pretty good. I'm gonna make like the amount like 20, and I'll just keep it at 100. With evolution options here, you do alt-click on random seed. This little text at the bottom will appear. You basically delete all of this. You do time. What is that? It's like an asterisk or something? I don't know. And then you do something like 10. 10 is a good thing to start with. Just makes it move around. I'm definitely gonna lower that. That looks decent. For the text that I used in the edit, I used a higher size to make it move around a lot. But if you want something like a lot more simple, you can make the size a lot lower. And now it kind of looks wobbly, like kind of looks like drawing text. And yeah, that's simple text for you. Yeah, I have that over the entirety of the text. The background clip here is actually pre-comped. I don't know why I sometimes pre-comped it. It's just very situational sometimes. The background video is actually really fucking cool. It's the shot of Jane smoking on Angel's camera. That's like that's really nice. I got this entire section where the text just changes font. That's pretty basic stuff. Now for this section, I did some more drawing. It's very easy to make drawing look good as long as the CC is good. And the paint obviously has to fit with the clip. Like the paint is very basic. I just literally circled over the thing. Did some crosses. And for this little part, I just drew my name like 8 times or something. Every frame. It makes that wobbly effect that we already did with like the turbulent displace effect. But this is actually fun to do. Just to draw your name over and over again. And then you can loop it as well. I did some more drawing. I don't know why I did these little swigglies, but they kind of work in the end. I then drew over her as well. And in a lot of these one framers, I just have mosaic. I don't know how to say that. Just pixelation. Works with the JPEG damage. A cool little one framer just to make something a little bit more detailed. For this little text here, I just appeared like it's my last night out. It's got this text animation over it. If you go to over here, effects and libraries, animation presets, you scroll down all the way to text, and you got a bunch of stuff like anime in, anime out. I think for this one I did what did I do? Yeah, they did the fade up characters one. That's a really nice one to use like literally anytime. And I have deep glow, drop shadow, which is like I have a drop shadow on it as well. I got OBS glow. I got the turbulent displace thing again, but it's obviously smaller size now, so it only moves like slightly. And then this little part is just invert, keyframed over and over again. For this text, I'm pretty sure it's just normal text, but a little bit different. I got all this text lined up. I pre-comped it. It's got posterized. Got cartoon on it to make it a little bit different from the other ones. Cartoon just adds like black outlines to it. And then the little background text is sketch with turbulent displace, but I set it to horizontal displacement. That's also another thing you can do. You can do vertical, horizontal displacement. You can make some really cool glitchy effects with turbulent displacement. It's a very good effect. More mosaic as one framers. This is a one framer that I really like. I basically did the same thing, pixelation, but then I did etching just to make it a little bit different. And then deep glow, that just makes it look really nice with the color correction. The color correction carries it, because without this, it just looks like a mess. But you know, it's like the perfect glow. For this section, I did more drawing. I did more drawing on Jane in this section. In this little part, I have the same adjustment layers, constantly turning on and off again, where it's horizontal displacement, turbulent displace again. And that's just to go with like the really buzzy bass in the background. It goes really high up in this one section. It works really well. I had to visualize that a little bit because it's the very noticeable bass in this section. Look in the comments. Fine, I'll look in the comments. Okay, I low-key buy it though. I'm going to show you real quick how to draw over something. Basically, firstly, what you want to do, you want to 100% pre-comp it. It's really convoluted to explain why you should pre-comp it, but just trust me, you gotta. Basically, when we paint over this, we're going to copy the paint file and copy it onto a solid later. And if we don't pre-comp it, the drawing that you did is going to be in like some random ass place in the raw file. That's basically the best way I can explain it, but yeah. You want to select this paint thing up here, up in the toolbar, and get your Wacom tablet out. If you don't have a Wacom tablet, I'm sorry to hear. I'm gonna unplug this shit. Alright, now you draw something. I'm gonna draw a smiley face with a tongue sticking out. Look at that little guy. Alright, let's draw him a couple more times. Let's just draw him in the same spot over and over. Oh my god. Alright, so now that we have this little goober, we copy the paint file from the effects control tab. We get a new solid. We put it onto there, and then we do a paint on transparent. Make sure you're on RGBA, by the way. If we had it on RGB, for example, and we did paint on transparent, this thing would just go away with the black solid as well. It's very annoying. I don't know why it's like that. Yeah, you basically cut that, and you can just kind of duplicate that a bunch. Fuck yeah, dude. Then we can like put this onto a pre-comp. We have a looped drawing. It looks really goofy at this high of a frame rate, but then we can put some other stuff on it. Put like drop shadow on it. You do something like that. And boom, you have your drawing. Frick yeah, dude. This flowchart plugin, by the way, is also really helpful. I didn't use it as much in this edit as other edits, but it's really good whenever you want to graph something. You can simply just put whatever graph you want to do here. You select like any kind of keyframes, whatever keyframes you want to change. You literally just press apply and then boom, it already puts it in. If we apply it, we can just check like the graph that we just applied, that we put onto it in the flowchart. It's way better than using the default flowchart. The handles were very annoying to use. So yeah, on this drawing, I added clouds, which is a really nice effect to put on like literally anything. Like if we just look at this, you can see that it put a nice cloud texture on it. And you can mess around with it if you want. You can change the frequency of it and everything. But I kept it relatively simple and put it to drop shadow. And I also changed the color here as well, just to make it a certain orange. But yeah, you can also mess it around and make it something different, like this, for example. That looks pretty cool. That looks pretty sick anyway. That looks really nice. And then I obviously put drop shadow as well on it. There's some certain one frames where I just put deep glow over it. It's mainly for the darker parts of it. Like I didn't want certain frames like this, where it looked a little bit weird. So I put deep glow on it just to make it kind of work with the turbulent displace that I put over the top. I also got some emboss on it, emboss. And then for this section, I got the text again. I made it flicker the ray brightness from the rays. It's just a cool little thing to use as like a transition. And then for this final section, I did some more drawing. I drew over the cigarette and I put the lyrics on the left. I kind of wanted the entirety of the lyrics to show up throughout this edit. I didn't really know how to incorporate it into here because I didn't want lyrics to be in this section. So I just decided I'll dump the lyrics on like the final shot here, and it kind of works. And then for this little part, I put turbulent displace, but it's vertical displacement. This is like really good. It's like if you just want like any like harsh like one framers, you just put the complexity all the way up, And then for these final one framers into the last transition, just invert. Some more sketch. I use zebrify here for some reason. I don't know. A lot of the time when I'm looking for one framers, I'll literally just do S underscore and I'll go through every single section here, especially the stylized section, because that's literally like the easiest to like, it's the easiest spot to get any good effect. A lot of the time I also use BCC. BCC stylized is also great. It's pretty similar to Sapphire though, but it's got some unique, it's got some more unique stuff here, especially up in here with image restoration. You got pixel fixer, you got noise reduction, you got a bunch under here. And then in this final section, I decided to just do more paint. Also, from this drop onwards, this entire adjustment layer that I have over the entire edit, or most of it at least, some stuff goes above the main effects. I also put the auto paint frequency up higher, just to make it a little bit easier to see. If I were to have 286 frequency of an auto paint on it, it's just a little bit hard to see. You couldn't really see this text as well. It's still really hard to see this text, but you can still kind of make out what it says. But yeah, I also didn't want to get rid of the auto paint because like if I got rid of it, it's very smooth now. It still looks alright, but it definitely doesn't work as well. The auto paint was definitely a thing that I needed to do in order to make it have like kind of like that 360p fucked up JPEG style that I was trying to do. Yeah, for this final section, I just drew all over the screen. I drew my name a couple times. Like I showed you guys. I also put rays on it. Somewhere. Where is it? Oh, it's here. Yeah, I put it right here. And yeah, we got the background from the start as well. This was also through like the entire edit. But yeah, essentially, a bunch of JPEG damage. This flicker with red amp that makes the entire thing flashy, and I mean just color correction, I guess. I guess I'll show some other things as well. Like if I only had like one CC layer, it still looks really good, but like it's not over the top. That's definitely what I was going for. I just wanted to completely visualize this entire song because this song's an absolute banger. The double CC layer definitely does help. It just adds so much more. Like, look at this shot compared to this. Like, oof. I got some other stuff, like getting rid of LUT here. You can completely get rid of the blue here if you wanted to. There's like, you know, slight blue in like everything that's here. But yeah, if I were to get rid of that, the chromatic aberration, there's still some blue. But yeah, like if I were to get rid of the LUT and chromatic aberration, it would also just like, you know, it looked like a color scheme. It looked like orange and white, but like, you know, nowhere near as good. Like, this is like the main example, because like this entire like part is grainy. Like, it's most noticeable here, especially the chromatic aberration. If you turn that on, you can just see like all the blue that gets added to it. Blue and red as well. And then for the final touches, I just grabbed this entire thing, Control A, pre-comp it, and then you basically got this entire thing, Jane Edit Main. I then take away the adjustment layers that are usually here, and I'll put it on top of it. Just so whatever I do on top of this edit, like whether it's like a watermark or it's something like this, like a flash warning, it's still got that CC. For this little thing, I just put optic composition. It's just a simple text. It's like the most basic text ever. But yeah, in this section, you can also put like some other stuff. A common thing that I like to do and that a lot of other editors like to do is just some borders. You get the little CC jaws. You take away all the height. You got some borders. Like, let me get a better shot. Here we go. You can keyframe it as well, so you can move it around, and it can go with the edit if you want. I usually have it at like 93, I think. Whether you want it with the color correction or not is up to you. Some people don't like the diffusion that's over the borders, so you can just like put it above it if you want. Another thing that I usually put in this section is a layer of RSMB, which is just motion blur. But I didn't want to put it here because even if I put like a little bit of motion blur, it just make it a little bit harder to see. I kind of wanted everything to be, every frame to at least be seeable if you paused. Like if I were to have RSMB on this edit, all this glint here in this entire one frame, it would just be really hard to see. Even if it was just a little bit of it. Like, let's get like a tiny bit of it. So that's like 0.50. Let's do 0.10. Like, even then, like, that's hard to see. Also, it wouldn't mesh as well with certain sections, like, where the edit drops down in frame rate on purpose. Because then you'll see Like this is a good example. If I had like 0.40 motion blur on this section where it drops down a frame rate, you can see that there's this part where it has no motion blur, but then when it moves, has a bit of motion blur. But then obviously when it stops, it doesn't correlate with the frame rate that changes. You can't technically do that. You can't technically change that, but it's a bit annoying. I also just think no motion blur in this edit also just helps with the Jane aesthetic that I was trying to go for. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I guess I could just show the edit with no color correction and end it off there. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys later when Silk Song drops.